Hi there. Welcome to the TNA Impact Review on BodySlam. I'm Datila, and of course, as always, I'm joined by the Burt Macklin. He's the fifth rascal and allegedly has no relation to Steve Macklin. Hey, Burt, how you doing?
I'm good, and although I like how those worlds are coming together now because I like to think of Macklin as a rascal now.
Right? We got a lot of things to talk about. Let's talk about the news that broke yesterday. Scott D'Amore has been fired from TNA as president. According to Mike Johnson, a PWI insider, the words making the rounds over the last day or so is that at some point in recent weeks, D'Amore approached Anthem with an offer to buy TNA outright from Anthem, said to have been backed by a letter with a major banking institution, but it was rebuffed. We have heard from some on Anthem's side that it was seen as a legitimate offer that was worthy of consideration, but the decision was made to not accept. And then it said, yeah, it says we're told that D'Amore was aware at least a week to 10 days ago that the change was coming, so this wasn't a shock firing out of nowhere, even if it was announced yesterday and shocked everybody. Personally, I was shocked that Scott D'Amore was fired. I felt like TNA and Scott D'Amore were the least problematic promotion out of the big three. I mean, it sucks, and I felt some type of way, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop watching TNA. I'm going to keep supporting TNA for the talent, the staff. They're not at fault for the decisions of management. So what are your thoughts, Bert?
Yeah, like on the surface, it's very shocking because if you've been paying attention to TNA the last few years, you know that how much work Scott D'Amore's put in, just from rebuilding to rebranding, going back to TNA from Impact, and just kind of like turning, getting the buzz to the positive point where people were starting to talk about TNA again. And then for this to happen, it's a little like, you don't know. I don't know what to think, but I think you said it best where like, it seems like it's a big deal, but that doesn't mean that we should stop watching TNA, and nor will I. The great roster is still there, and they're just as part of they're just as part of the people to thank for where TNA is now at this point. So yeah, we can't stop watching. We need to keep watching and supporting this great team.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, they're not at fault for the decisions that management make. So
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
but I understand if people feel some type of way, I'm not gonna criticize or judge anybody here. But I just feel like we should still continue to support the talent.
Exactly. Yeah. Like when a team that you follow might have bad management, or and I'm not saying TNA's management is bad at all, but what I'm saying, like, when in the case, like, if you have a team and you don't like the ownership, you still got to support the team, because it's not the player's fault.
Yeah, Ios is crazy, sad, decent week for TNA. Yeah, he has a point. He truly does. All right, let's get into things. So Trinity wrestled her last match. She tag teamed with Jordynne Grace against the Shaw Taraj. She got a victory here. I was a little surprised so that they didn't write her off. She pretty much just her match ended and that was it. She didn't really they didn't attack her. They didn't write her off, which I thought was kind of odd because a lot of people in the past have gotten written off. Chelsea Green went home. Taya Valkyrie got put in that coffin and sent into the undead realm. So I'm really surprised they didn't technically write her off.
Well, like in the history of wrestling, usually when people are leaving one place to go to another, it's not usually you don't see them leave strong. The company doesn't have an obligation to do that. But yeah, having Trinity get the win along with Jordynne Grace, I really like that. And again, I think Trinity run in TNA has been stellar. I think she couldn't have done more. I wish she was staying, but
yeah, TNA treated Trinity like a star. I mean, she defeated Diana Purrazzo, made her tap out. Who can say that?
Well, I think she was always a star. It just maybe her previous place didn't recognize that, and TNA did, and just took her to new heights. Along with she did it herself. So
yeah,
congratulations to her.
Yeah, congrats to Trinity. you know? And who can forget that moment in the Rumble with Trinity and Jordynne Grace, you know?
Yeah, that was really special.
Yeah, it really was. I liked it. I marked out for it. All right. So TNA kicked off with a John Skyler promo talking about change, and he doesn't understand why Chris Sabin is so upset. I mean, like, he said that he hopes Ali takes the title off of him. He said they're looking forward to the change the most is when Chris Sabin loses that title at No Surrender, and then he's going to get a preview of these good hands. The typical John Skyler promo. That's why bad things happen to John Skyler. What are your thoughts on his promo?
Well, I like this promo because I do like the good hands. I think that it's crazy because right now TNA's tag division is so deep. You know, the good hands kind of get lost in the shuffle, but I think tonight just proves that they shouldn't, and that you should always like kind of keep an eye on them because I think they're on the rise.
Yeah, I definitely do. The good hands I feel like a little underrated. They came together at a time when Impact was struggling with their tag team division. So I'm really happy to see them doing good. I mean, Jason Hush got a big victory over Rich Swann on Explosion.
Exactly. That was a really good match. I really enjoyed that match.
Yeah, me too. A really great match. I wouldn't mind seeing that again.
And obviously, with AJ Francis at ringside pointing out Swann, who is on a losing streak, I just think it furthers the point that. And now I'm starting to roll. I'm rolling with it. I want to see Rich Swann turn heel just because I don't think I've ever seen him as a heel, and I just think he needs a change at this point. Just because I don't think he's really like. I would say he's pretty stale at this point.
I think he does need a heel change. You know, I feel like he's done it all as a baby face. He's been a baby face for way too long. So, all right. So we get John Skyler versus Chris Sabin. This was a good match. I don't think Chris Sabin was going to lose to John Skyler. I don't think he's losing until, no offense to anybody who likes Chris Sabin, but I don't think Chris Sabin is losing until No Surrender, where he drops the title to Ollie.
Yeah, I think that's a given at this point. I certainly I could see him losing to maybe someone a little higher on the card or something other than no disrespect to John Skyler, but because like I just said, I think him and Hotch are on the rise. But yeah, no, I think it's a foregone conclusion that Sabin is not losing until then.
Until No Surrender, right?
Yeah.
All right. We get a quick Alex Shelley interview where he's basically talking about how if you take out one component, the whole system cracks, in reference to Moose's faction, the system. You know, he mentioned Slish, Moose, and Brian Myers, so he wants them to feel Eddie Edwards' pain. I thought it was a pretty decent promo.
Yeah, but you know, I like Alex Shelley, but even he needs to trust the system because as far as I can see at this point, I don't see any cracks.
I trust the system too. All right. We get Xia Brookside versus Tasha Steelz. Another great match. Great action from both ladies. Now, Tasha Steelz, I'm sure you didn't see this, Bert. You never see any heel tactics. Using a handful of tights to get the victory over Xia Brookside. Now they're 1-1. I have a feeling maybe at No Surrender we might get the third match. 1-1 now. Yeah, exactly, Io.
TNA is so good at creating like rivalries and feuds and like just kind of the way that they book their series. Like, yeah, they're one right now, and based on both matches, I would think everyone would want to see them have another match. So to this one, hopefully at No Surrender, where it should be, you know, I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, of course I didn't see it. It's not like I didn't see, but the way I look at it is you got to work smarter, not harder.
The damn assholes is still spray painting your eyes. That's why. So,
yeah.
ABC cut in a promo basically where they're talking about GYV, and this doesn't sit well with the GYV. They attacked ABC, and then poor Ace gets attacked. Cameron says Big Burt.
Thank
So
you.
what are your thoughts on this?
Put this one in another foregone conclusion category because I think no surrender. Where would you say that would be the conclusion of the best of 3 series?
I think so. I think next week we're getting the second one, right? It's set. So yeah, I
Okay.
think no surrender is going to be the conclusion. And I like the ABC, but I could see them dropping the titles to GYV. GYV.
This will be the second of 2 new champions on the night. I think GYV does take it. I like them attacking them, just kind of showing the aggression, like their aggressive side, because I just don't think that there was a team like that in TNA at this point. So I really like GYV, and I love ABC as well, but I wouldn't mind seeing them win.
Yeah, same here. I think it would shake up the tag team division a little bit, give it that extra oomph it needs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We get a quick Frankie Kazarian backstage segment where like he's interrupted by Jake something, and Jake something tells him he doesn't look up to him anymore. And Frankie Kazarian was like, if he doesn't look up to him anymore, he doesn't even have to look at him. And Jake something tells him he tried to talk to him, but there are other ways to talk. And as we know, next week they will have a match.
This just hit me now that we're talking about it. On one hand, I have no problem with Jake something on his own, but I wouldn't mind a Jake something heel turn and align himself with Frankie Kazarian. There's something about that. Just something about that segment. Obviously, they're going to have a match in terms of, where Jake something is the face and Frankie Kazarian's the heel. But I could just see down the line maybe, him agreeing with Frankie Kazarian's approach that, in this new heel turn that he took. So I wouldn't mind seeing that.
It'd be an interesting combination, to say the least. It certainly would be something.
It would.
We get Speedball Mike Bailey versus Zachary Wentz. This was an incredible match. One of my favorite matches of the night. This match, amazing. Zachary Wentz defeats Speedball Mike Bailey. It's not the first time they tussle though. And I really like the ending of this because the Rascals beat up Mike Bailey. Then Trent Seven returns to help Mike Bailey. And then Steve Macklin and Nick Nemeth get involved. I feel like we're going to get 2 matches out of this. We're going to get the Rascals, smoke them if you got them, versus Speedball Mountain, Trent Seven and Speedball Mike Bailey, for those of you that don't know. And then maybe a 6-man tag match, the Rascals and Steve Macklin versus Nick Nemeth and Speedball Mountain, which will eventually lead to Steve Macklin versus Nick Nemeth.
Yeah, because I think they're still, obviously Nick Nemeth is still working his way up to get his title shot. I don't think that will be for a few months, which I agree with that. Because I think he'll be eventually the one to take the title off Moose.
If not Rebellion, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I said if not Rebellion at Summerversary.
Yeah, I want Moose to have another, maybe not as long as last time, but a decent run. And then yeah, I agree with you on Slammiversary because that's a big show. And in terms of I think I wouldn't mind 2 6-man matches unless we're going to get this one next week. 2 6-man at No Surrender. I would be fine with that. I think it's about time for TNA to introduce some 6-man titles.
Lucha, shout out to Lucha because he suggested that.
I just think it's time. Because it's not like you have to have set teams because there are people who are just friends in the back that team occasionally, so it's not like you have to go establish a bunch of 6-man teams.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Time Splitters, Time Machine, the Rascals and Macklin, the Shotterage.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Speaking of Rebellion, we found out that Rebellion will be live once again at the Palms in Las Vegas, Nevada. You and I are going to be there, right? TNA BodySlam is going to be there. Right, Bert?
Yes. Yes.
We're going to be there, and hopefully we're on the hard cam sign, and hopefully you guys see us. We'll let you guys know as it gets closer because we're still like a couple months away, but we're definitely going to be there, right, Bert?
Yeah, I would say 95% sure I'm going to be there.
Give us a New Japan Trios bus saying using them. Viva Las Vegas. Exactly. Viva Las Vegas. We're going to be there. Don't worry. We're going to have a blast. We'll keep you guys updated, though, as we get closer to Rebellion. We get two quick promos, one by Khan, one by Rhino. Khan basically saying he's the baddest man in TNA, and he proved that last week when he attacked PCO, and he would break his two guys he's facing today. And Rhino talking about Crazy Steve. He says he doesn't give a shit about digital media, but he does care about championship gold, and he promises to rip Crazy Steve up in half and will take the title from him. And he says he'll rip him apart with the gore. I thought these were pretty decent promos by each of them. Khan, I feel like they're trying their best to make him that monster that he was at the very beginning when he first debuted. And Rhino, just a classic promo by Rhino.
Yeah, I don't think Rhino's winning, but he definitely got me interested in the match just because of that promo, the intensity of it. And then in terms of Khan, yeah, I like what they're doing with him.
Same. Okay, so we get a backstage segment with Diener, and he's just like standing there talking about he's at a crossroads. He's a man with a decision to make. He seems kind of broken down since the design split. Now, AJ Francis interrupts, and I actually really like this because, as you know, like Diener's like, if you want help with Joe Henry, and AJ's like, don't say his name, and then because you know what happens, say his name, and he appears. I believe in Joe Henry. But I thought that was a really hilarious segment. I know some people don't like Joe Henry. I know some people don't believe in Joe Henry, but I believe in 252 pounds of pure motivation, the answer to all our lives' problems. I believe in Joe Henry. Do you believe, Burt?
I do. I always say I would prefer him as a heel, just because I think it would work better. But
Cameron says he believes in Joe. Oh, sorry. Cameron says he believes in Joe Henry, and he says ABC.
I liked how Diener clapped and he didn't really know why. You said Diener's broken. I would not mind broken Cody Diener. If he wants to call Matt, maybe give him some tips. If we get a broken Cody Diener universe, that sounds funny to me. But yeah, no, this, and then again, AJ Francis' involvement in the segment. I don't know if he is building a faction. You know, if he's trying to, get a bunch of people under him. But I do like where that is going as well.
I like how AJ's like, "Why are you clapping? Why are you clapping?" And
yeah, that was funny.
Henry's trying to retweets off of X, and he's like, "Oh, I can't read that one. I can't read that one." I still think this is going to lead into Joe Henry versus AJ Francis, if not at No Surrender, maybe at Rebellion. But this is definitely leading to a match between the two of them.
Yeah, the show did a very good job, now that I think about it, of planting the seeds for matches for No Surrender.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we get Khan versus Richard Adonis and Ari Gold. This was an enhancement match, as Lucha likes to say. Khan wins, then PCO comes out, and they just start brawling. Security tries to break them up. They're not able to get broken up. I could see Khan versus PCO at No Surrender, maybe like on the kickoff show or something. But they're definitely trying to re-establish Khan into that beast that he was.
Yeah, this is basically like when a college football team plays a Division III team. Like, there was no way. Yeah, Khan just went out there and demolished both of them.
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate where this is going, but I wonder who'll get the win, PCO or Khan.
I think Khan has to win.
Yeah,
just
I think so too.
If they're trying to build something, you have to establish him as a monster, and you can't have him losing right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's true. We get Josh Alexander versus Alan Angels. This is a really great match. Alan Angels pissed off Josh Alexander because, like, Alan Angels cheap shotted Josh in his entrance. He immediately went after Josh. He sent Josh into the ring post. Like, he just pissed off Josh Alexander. I'm surprised Alan Angels didn't give him a low blow. If you know, you know.
And I like what you said. Yeah. And what you said kind of played it in the finish. Instead of like Josh going for the C4 spike, he really immediately went into the ankle lock.
Yeah. So he won this match by submission. I mean, last week Alan Angels mentioned his son Jet. This week he just pissed him off. You don't piss off Josh Alexander. Just ask Moose. Crash versus Hardcore. LOL. Exactly. And then at the end, Simon Gotch attacked Josh and sent him into the steel steps. What I like about this was that Tom Hannigan on commentary was asking Matthew Rayward, "Did you know about this?" And Matthew Rayward denies anything. For those of you who don't know, don't remember, Simon Gotch and Matthew Rayward back used to be the Von Villains in WWE. Back when he used to be Aiden English.
Yeah. I try to forget about it, but
I actually like the Von Villains.
Matthew Rayward, who I really like, but yeah.
The Von Villains weren't a bad tag team. They just suffered from bad booking once they got to the main roster. But if anybody remembers Black and Gold NXT, they were good.
You're right.
The Von Villains NXT tag team. Yeah, I remember them. The main event was Eddie Edwards versus Alex Shelley. This was a really good match. Alex Shelley trying to, you get rid of one component, you crash the system. So I think this is a good match. Alex Shelley getting the win, even despite the fact that Alicia Edwards got involved multiple times in this. She caused a lot of distractions. At the end, Brian Myers did attack Alex Shelley. Kushida and Kevin Knight come out to back up Alex Shelley here. So this rivalry between the System, Time Machine, and Kevin Knight, it's not over. And I hate to say it. I mean, I like Alex Shelley, but I don't think he's beating Moose at No Surrender.
Neither do I. And I just want to point out this match. I two things stood out to me. One being, I think Alicia just continues to be, I'm not saying the main star of this group, but she stands out to me. She really makes this group for me, her presence. And number two, I don't know how you can't, even though it was a brief second, immediately when Kevin Knight came out, take your eyes off him. That guy is a star. Like, I really hope he's on TNA more going forward, because when he's on screen, you have to watch.
Yeah, Kevin Knight is a star on the rise. TNA Impact turned Yuya Uemura into a star, and I'm pretty sure they can turn Kevin Knight into a star too. So I ask this as everybody, I know you and I trust the System, but do the viewers watching #trust the System? You should. Now,
agreed.
I really hope that we get to see the System hold all the gold and not make the same mistake with Honor No More. That I still feel like Honor No More should have won all the gold before they split, and I hope that with the System, that's the case. I hope all of them win gold. And Cameron Johnson saying, "I love Kevin Knight." Oh yeah, Kevin Knight is awesome. So, and like I said, Ash by Elegance, when she debuts, I need to see her character first before I feel like see if she belongs with the System. But I could see her and Alicia Edwards teaming up if she belongs. Man's a future star, yeah. All right, Bert, you got any last comments or remarks before we sign off, or you want to talk about Explosion?
Yeah. Now that I think about it, because if you've paid attention to TNA's booking over the past, it's been a thing that they are great at taking teams or taking people and showcasing their strengths and hiding their weaknesses. I think under TNA's great booking, because it's sensational, I wouldn't mind seeing the Vaudevillains as a team in TNA.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't. I would not mind seeing the Vaudevillains. It's been a long time, and I wouldn't be surprised if Matthew Rayward knows and knew about it and denied it.
Yeah, because Matthew Rayward, since he's been to TNA, when he won that tournament with Deonna, he's been great. So
yeah. I agree. Hopefully, I wish it was commenting Deanna's match at Revolution. So it wouldn't be a Deanna Prazo match with Matthew Rehwalk on commentary. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, Bert, do you have any last comments?
Well, as always, just watch TNA and watch our show, obviously, as well.
Yeah,
but obviously watch TNA.
More opponents for Josh Merrier. That's true. That's true. The more the merrier for Josh until he slowly makes his way back to the TNA title. Why do I have a feeling, real quick, why do I have a feeling that if Frankie Kazarian wins the title, Josh Alexander would be the one to take it from him?
That's fine. I'm glad you pointed that out because I do think Frankie Kazarian deserves to win the championship because I think he has been someone who's put in a lot of time in the TNA.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be fine with me. I think TNA is always thinking down the road, and they're always planting seeds for matches, in future bookings. So yeah, that would make sense to me.
All right. Well, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever we go live. And as Io says, watch TNA. The talent, the staff would appreciate it for Scott. Yes, despite how you feel about Scott's firing, like I said earlier, the talent, the staff, they're not at fault for the decisions of management. I'm going to continue watching TNA to support the talent, the staff. Bert, what about you?
Yeah. You have, again, Scott may be gone, but the talent's still there. So
yeah, exactly.
We weren't watching Scott. What he was doing was behind the scenes, and even though we saw that progress on screen, he wasn't wrestling. The wrestlers are still there that we have been watching, so we have to support them.
Yeah, so I'm going to continue to support it. I know everybody might feel some type of way that Scott's gone, and I'm upset that Scott's gone, but I'm still going to continue to watch for the talent and for the staff. So TNA is always great when I watch. I don't watch every week, but the show is absolutely great. That's awesome to hear, Cameron James. Stop sleeping on TNA Impact. And with that being said, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.